Good morning and welcome to our presentation, Video Display Terminal Law. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll be able to understand ergonomics and its benefits, recognize signs and symptoms of early injury, identify work activities that can lead to injury, list examples of ergonomic principles that reduce risk of injury, and conduct a workstation evaluation. This training is required by Maine state law, MRSA Title 26, in Labor and Industry, effective January 1st, 1992. As we go into our presentation, the following definitions will help you better understand the content. The Bureau refers to the Bureau of Labor Standards. Your employer, in this case, is the town of Gray. The operator is yourself, especially if you use the computer for 4 or more consecutive hours every day. And your terminal is your video display, otherwise known as a monitor or a screen. Because the town in Gray employs more than 6 employees, we're required by Section 252 of MRSA Title 26 to provide training within the first month of your hire and annually thereafter. So training will be provided each year during our regular staff mandatory training day. During your training, we're required to provide notification of your rights, an explanation of the proper use of terminals, protective measures when necessary to avoid symptoms, and instruction on how to achieve and maintain proper posture. Finally, you'll learn how to adjust your workstation equipment so that you can avoid any problems. So what exactly is ergonomics? It can best be defined as the science and practice of designing jobs and workplaces to match the capabilities and limitations of the human body. It is fitting the job to the worker, not the worker to the job. And why then do we care about ergonomics? Firstly, and most importantly, ergonomics helps to prevent musculoskeletal injuries. Also, it'll improve the quality of your work, improve the quality of your life, and reduce fatigue and discomfort while you're working. There are thousands of injuries known as WMSDs, or work-related musculoskeletal disorders, in Maine every year. We're here today for our education on injury prevention because it's an important part of safety and health. So, what exactly are work-related musculoskeletal disorders? They're also known as cumulative trauma disorders, repetitive strain injuries, or overuse injuries. Probably the best known of these is carpal tunnel syndrome, which is associated with long extended use of keyboards. They usually develop gradually, but sometimes they can appear suddenly, and they can be serious if not taken care of early. And how exactly will you recognize WMSDs? What are their symptoms? Well, you should look for discomfort or pain or dull ache, decreased range of motion or tightness, numbness or tingling, change of skin color, or swelling of joints or limbs, or even a decreased grip strength. All of these could be symptoms of WMSDs. And what exactly causes WMSDs? Well, most typically, things like repetitive motion, forceful exertion, awkward posture, mechanical pressure, cold temperatures, stress, nutritional deficiencies, poor lighting, prolonged standing in one place, poor posture, or working with your neck flexed. Any or all of these can contribute to WMSDs. I can hear you thinking now, it will never happen to me. Or will it? Consider for a moment your age, your general health, hereditary factors, your usual posture, diet, and activities. All of these are risk factors. In addition, WMSD injuries depend upon the duration of your exposure, the frequency of your exposure, the intensity of your exposure, or a combination of factors. Here is just one example of how these injuries may occur. I like to call this the "it hurts when I." Notice the subject stretching to retrieve a notebook on the top shelf, overextending his reach, and potentially causing an injury. Do you find yourself habitually reaching too far, stretching, trying to reach that one last piece of paper or that drawer way at the bottom? Organizing your work area so that things you need regularly or more often are in your primary work zone and things that you need less often are further away is one way to help prevent this sort of problem. Here's another problem called static posture. It happens when you don't move enough. You find yourself sitting in the same position for extended periods of time, eventually causing pain, which might be temporary or longer lasting. A simple habit of stretching now and then relieves this problem by relieving static posture, keeping your fluid circulating, and preventing toxins from building up in your tissues. Make a new habit of stretching every now and then. Make sure you're using your footrests effectively and shifting your weight. Make sure that your seating is well designed and adjustable, that your work surfaces are at an appropriate height, and that you change positions more often. If you spend extended periods of time on a keyboard, you know that arm and wrist pain can happen gradually and increase over time. Improper keyboard posture, including bending your wrists to the side or upwards, can exacerbate this problem. Fortunately, some very simple retrofits can help alleviate this problem and improve worker comfort, keeping wrists straight and elbows open with a mouse supported at hand level. It reduces muscle strain and supports the benefits of the existing chair and other ergonomic tools. It's a simple keyboard tray. Here are some other suggestions for alleviating pain related to keyboard work. First, think about spreading your keyboard work throughout the day, if at all possible. Use macros to reduce the number of keystrokes when common functions are in play. Take stretch pauses, as described earlier, and improve your posture and move around as much as possible. A number of alternative keyboard styles are available to suit individual comfort and style. And don't forget your mouse. Mouse pads and other forms of support for your wrist will go a long way to alleviating wrist pain. And remember to place your mouse in a proper position so that it's easy to reach and doesn't place strain on your wrist or hand. As with keyboards, there are alternative mouse styles available to suit individual preference. Your office chair plays an important role in preventing WMSDs. It should be the right size with adequate lumbar support and of a proper height. It should have armrests, preferably removable, and a seat pan that is comfortable. It should include a good foundation and should be easily adjustable while sitting. If you haven't already done so, when you get back to your office, have a seat. Check for the chair adjustments for backrest and lumbar support, as well as your seat pan, the height of the chair, the foundation, and the armrest. You might be surprised at how much it can conform to your needs. Adjusting your chair can be a little tricky, but is well worth the effort. First, adjust your office chair seat height. This is usually controlled by a lever or a button on the underside, which you need to lift upwards or press. Begin by raising the chair's gas lift to its full height, then, using the height control, lower yourself gradually until you have the correct seating angle, which allows your feet to lie flat on the floor and your legs and hips at a 90 to 100 degree angle. You can use an ergonomic footrest if you have a problem attaining the correct position. Next, adjust the office seat back height so that it gives good support to your lower back and maintains your spine's natural curvature. If your seat has a seat depth adjustment, adjust it to suit the length of your leg. It's also important to set the tension required to recline comfortably when you want to lean back in your chair. This adjustment is usually a large knob on the center underside of the chair. Just turning it to the left or the right to increase or decrease the pressure allows you to correctly set the tension to recline smoothly and comfortably. Then adjust your chair's armrest so that your shoulders hang naturally with your forearms resting comfortably on the arm pads. With a bit of experimentation, you should be able to adjust your chair to allow for comfortably supported seated posture. Here we can see that with the armrest too low, there's no support for your arm, while if it's too high, your shoulders will be in a hunched position. Ideally, your arm should rest comfortably on the armrest at a 90 to 100 degree angle at the elbow. Here we see a real-life example of improper and proper positioning. Notice how much happier Judy is when her arms are in the right position. Now remember, this presentation is about video display terminals or monitors. So of course, we would be amiss if we didn't talk about the monitor itself. The monitor is an integral part of a computer workstation. When placed in the wrong position, it can force the operator to work in a variety of awkward positions. Working with one's chin tilted upwards and the head and upper body bent forwards or sideways is common wherever the monitor is improperly situated. Such forced working body positions significantly contribute to the operator's discomfort and can potentially lead to WMSDs. To set up your monitor correctly, consider the following general guidelines. Center your monitor. For most workstations, the best position for your monitor is directly in front of you. Putting the monitor off-center can cause neck and shoulder pain due to twisting and awkward posture. Sit arm's length away. Your monitor should be about an arm's length away when you're sitting back in your chair. Sitting too close or too far from your screen can cause eye strain. If you have a large monitor, say 20 inches or larger, you should sit it slightly further back. Position the top of your screen level with your eyes. The ideal viewing height is to have your eyes level with an imaginary line across the screen, about 2 inches to 3 inches below the top of the monitor. Tilt your monitor slightly upward. Tilt the screen so that the base is slightly closer to you than the top. This enables you to view the entire screen and the display more clearly. Tilting the monitor downward isn't recommended unless necessary to reduce the glare of overhead lights or if your monitor is too high and can't be adjusted. Beware of your windows. Windows are a common source of glare on the monitor. If you work in a room with windows, be sensitive to any reflections or glare that may show on your monitor and cause you to squint. If left uncorrected, glare will cause discomfort, eye strain, and headaches. Try to reposition your monitor so that there's no glare on the screen, but avoid putting it in a position that's uncomfortable to view. If you can't avoid the glare by readjusting your monitor position, consider a high-quality glass anti-glare screen. Balance the brightness of your monitor. You should adjust your monitor so that its brightness is approximately equal to the area directly behind it. The goal is to eliminate any contrast between the brightness of the screen and the area behind it. Adjust your font size and color. The size of your text should be about 2 to 3 times the size of the smallest text that you can read. Black text on a white background is usually the easiest to discern when word processing. Consider a swivel arm. If you frequently interact with others and placing your monitor in the recommended location would interfere with your interactions, consider purchasing a swivel arm. Swivel arms enable users to maintain proper monitor location while in use and easily swing their monitors out of the way when not in use. Remember, bright lighting may wash out the image, making it hard to see, which will cause eye fatigue. Lighting should be indirect, or task lighting should be used to reduce washout or glare. Here's a spot quiz. How many ways of reducing glare can you identify when you get back to your desk? So to summarize, your posture checklist should include the following. Your head should be up and centered over your shoulders. There should be a 90-degree angle for your arms, legs, and torso. Your eyes should be looking forward most of the time with your shoulders relaxed. Your back erect and supported with hands in line with forearms. Your reference material should be easy to look at. Your feet firmly planted on the floor or a footrest with only moderate pressure at the front of the seat cushion. Remember our definition of WMSD? It's a work-related musculoskeletal disorder, and there are lots of other ways that they can occur. Consider your telephone posture. Your tendency might be to cradle the phone between your neck and shoulders while jotting down information, but all that time with your head cocked and your shoulders scrunched can lead to strained muscles. Like many people, you may use an iron grip on the phone, and this can cause tension in your hand that can send numbness or shooting pains up your arm to your neck. The better way is to use a headset attachment so that you can talk hands-free. At all other times, hold the handset to your ear, keeping your shoulders down and even, and your head and neck straight, not tilted to one side or the other. Hold the phone with a light, easy grasp, and switch hands after about 10 minutes. Remember, even when the workstation design and environmental factors are at their very best, a worker can still suffer discomfort and injuries from factors related to the work process. Consider workplace stress, for example. A number of factors may contribute to workplace stress. High workloads and/or unrealistic deadlines can make people feel rushed, under pressure, and overwhelmed, while insufficient workloads can make people feel that their skills are being underused. Concerns about job security, lack of career opportunities, or level of pay can also stress folks out, as can bullying or harassment in the workplace. Clutter can also play a significant role in how we feel about our workplaces and about ourselves. Messy workspaces leave us feeling anxious, helpless, and overwhelmed. Yet rarely is clutter recognized as a significant source of stress in our lives. Fortunately, there are some simple solutions to help us gain control of the clutter in our workspaces. So, hopefully you've learned a few things that will help you prevent WMSDs and keep you happier and healthier in your workplace. I know what you're thinking. What's next? You'll receive a safety comfort checklist that will help you to identify any hazards at your workstation, then assess the risk and learn how to control the risks, especially through adjusting your workstation to fit your needs. If you identify workplace problems or notice any WMSD symptoms, report to your immediate supervisor as soon as possible. Comprehensive injury reporting is important to the success of our ergonomic process. The goal of the effort is to reduce factors contributing to WMSDs, with early reporting, diagnosis, and intervention helping to limit injury severity, improve the effectiveness of treatment, minimize the likelihood of disability or permanent damage, and also reduce workers' compensation claims. As we wrap up, please remember that ergonomics can help you on your job and at home. WMSDs can happen in jobs with risk factors. Risk factors can be reduced and WMSDs prevented. Reporting symptoms early is important, and you can help us by following good ergonomic practices. To review, here are some things to look for. A monitor that's not positioned head-on. Incorrect positioning of a desk lamp that may create glare on the screen. A mouse too far away causing strain on the shoulder or feet not firmly on the floor. Your back not supported appropriately by the chair backrest, or keyboards at an angle that increase the angle at the wrist. Oh, and about that cactus. So now I'll leave you with some examples to take with you. First, I caught Dean working away at his keyboard. If he goes home with a sore back or shoulder, maybe his posture is a factor? I call this one the slouch. And here we have Pam entering data into Trio. No small wonder if she develops any number of WMSDs with this posture that I like to call the hunch. And Anne, maybe a larger font size would be helpful. Sitting this close can contribute to eye strain in addition to problems with back, neck, and shoulders. This one reminded me of someone, so I like to call it the Magoo. Last, but certainly not least, we have Kathy, busily filing away. Words fail me at this point, so now I must go.